Welcome to AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner question. I am your host John Menz from Certificate Hub Academy. Question 1. What is the term used to describe giving an AWS user only access to the exact services he/she needs to do the required job and nothing more? Option A. The least privileged user principle. B. The principle of least privilege. C. The only access principle. D. None of the above. Right answer is B. The principle of least privilege. Question 2. What are the main benefits of on-demand EC2 instances? Select all that apply. Choose the two correct answers. Option A. They are the cheapest buying option. B. They are the most flexible buying option. C. They require 1-2 days for setup and configuration. D. Create, start, stop, and terminate at any time. Right answer is B. They are the most flexible buying option. D. Create, start, stop, and terminate at any time. Explanation. On-demand EC2 instances are widely used due to their flexibility. You can create, start, stop, and terminate at any time with no startup or termination fees. Although due to this flexibility, they are the most expensive buying option. Question 3. What AWS service must you use if you want to configure an AWS billing alarm? Option A. CloudWatch. B. Cloud Monitor. C. Consolidated Billing. D. CloudTrail. Right answer is A. CloudWatch. Explanation. CloudWatch is the AWS service that allows you to collect metrics and create alarms based on those metrics. Billing metrics can be tracked in CloudWatch. Therefore, billing alarms can be created. Question 4. How much data can you store in S3? Option A. Storage capacity is virtually unlimited. B. You can store up to 1 petabyte of data. C. Each account is given 50 gigabytes of storage capacity and no more can be used. D. You can store up to 1 petabyte of data. Then you are required to pay an additional fee. Right answer is A. Storage capacity is virtually unlimited. Explanation. Although there is theoretically a capacity limit, as an S3 user, there is no limit on the amount of data you can store in S3. Question 5. Your company's upper management is getting very nervous about managing governance, compliance, and risk auditing in AWS. What service should you enable and inform upper management about? Option A. Cloud Audit. B. CloudTrail. C. Cloud Compliance. D. CloudWatch. Right answer is B. CloudTrail. Explanation. AWS CloudTrail is designed to log all actions taken in your AWS account. This provides a great resource for governance, compliance, and risk auditing. Question 6. Which of the following will affect how much you are charged for storing objects in S3? Choose the two correct answers. Option A. The storage class used for the objects stored. B. Encrypting data, objects, stored in S3. C. Creating and deleting S3 buckets. D. The total size in gigabytes of all objects stored. Right answer is A. The storage class used for the objects stored. D. The total size in gigabytes of all objects stored. Question 7. Kunal is managing an application running on an on-premises data center. What best describes the challenges he faces that someone using the AWS cloud does not? Option A. Kunal must research what size, compute capacity, servers he needs to run his application. B. Kunal must know how to properly configure network-level security. C. Kunal must predict future growth, and scaling can be costly and time-consuming. D. None of the above. Right answer is C. Kunal must predict future growth, and scaling can be costly and time-consuming. Explanation. Scaling is much faster and cost-effective on the AWS cloud. With on-demand instances and auto-scaling, future growth does not have to be predicted. More compute capacity can be added gradually as demand increases. Question 8. What AWS storage class should be used for long-term archival storage? Option A. Glacier. B. Long-term. C. Standard. D. Infrequent access. Right answer is A. Glacier. Explanation. Glacier should be used for, and is specifically designed for, long-term archival storage. Question 9. Kim is managing a web application running on the AWS cloud. The application is currently utilizing 8 EC2 servers for its compute platform. Earlier today, 2 of those web servers crashed. However, none of her customers were affected. What has Kim done correctly in this scenario? Option. A. Properly built an elastic system. B. Properly built a scalable system. C. Properly build a fault-tolerant system. D. None of the above. Right answer is C. Properly build a fault-tolerant system. Explanation. A fault-tolerant system is one that can sustain a certain amount of failure while still remaining operational. Question 10. What are the benefits of DynamoDB? Select all that apply. Choose the 3 correct answers. Option. A. Supports multiple known NoSQL database engines like MariaDB and Oracle NoSQL. B. Automatic scaling of throughput capacity. C. Single-digit millisecond latency. D. Supports both document and key-value store data model. Right answer is B. Automatic scaling of throughput capacity. C. Single-digit millisecond latency. D. Supports both document and key-value store data model. Explanation. DynamoDB does not use / support other NoSQL database engines. You only have access to use DynamoDB built-in engine. Question 11. What best describes penetration testing? Option. A. Testing your application's ability to penetrate other applications. B. Testing your IAM users' access to AWS services. C. Testing your own network / application for vulnerabilities. D. None of the above. Right answer is C. Testing your own network / application for vulnerabilities. Question 12. You are trying to organize and import to AWS gigabytes of data that are currently structured in JSON-like name-value documents. What AWS fit your needs? Option. A. Lambda. B. Aurora. C. RDS. D. DynamoDB. Right answer is D. DynamoDB. Explanation. DynamoDB is AWS NoSQL database offering. NoSQL databases are for non-structured data that are typically stored in JSON-like name-value documents. Question 13. Before moving in / or storing object in AWS Glacier, what considerations should you make regarding the data you want to store? Choose the correct answer. Option. A. Make sure the data is properly formatted for storage Glacier. B. Make sure the total amount of data you want to store in under 1 terabyte in size. C. Make sure you are okay with it taking at minimum a few minutes to retrieve the data once stored in Glacier. D. None of the above. Right answer is C. Make sure you are okay with it taking at minimum a few minutes to retrieve the data once stored in Glacier. Explanation. Objects stored in Glacier take time to retrieve. You can pay for expedited retrieval, which will take several minutes, or wait several hours for normal retrieval. Question 14. John is working with a large data set, and he needs to import it into a relational database service. What AWS service will meet his needs? Option. A. RDS. B. Redshift. C. NoSQL. D. DynamoDB. Right answer is A. RDS. Explanation. RDS is AWS Relational Database Service. Question 15. What is AWS Serverless Compute Service? Option. AS3, B. Lambda. C. EC2. D. None of the above. Right answer is B. Lambda. Explanation. AWS has 2 main compute services, EC2, server-based, and Lambda, serverless. Question 16. Stephen is having issues tracking how much compute capacity his application is using. Ideally, he wants to track and have alarms for when CPU utilization goes over 70%. What should Stephen do to accomplish this? Option. A. Configure an SNS topic with an alarm threshold set to trigger when CPU utilization is greater than 70%. B. Configure a Cloud Watch alarm with an alarm threshold set to trigger when CPU utilization is greater than 70%. Right answer is B. Configure a Cloud Watch alarm with an alarm threshold set to trigger when CPU utilization is greater than 70%. Explanation. The answer is to configure a Cloud Watch alarm with an alarm threshold set to trigger when CPU utilization is greater than 70%. This will display the alarm in alarm state when CPU utilization is greater than 70%. This question has been worded very specifically with the words goes above 70%. This disqualifies the answer that stated greater than or equal to 70%. The AWS exam will have very tricky questions like this. Question 17. What is the most common type of storage used for EC2 instances? Option A. Elastic File System, EFS. B. EC2 hard drives. C. Elastic Block Store, EBS. D. Magnetic Drive, MD. Answer. C. Elastic Block Store, EBS. Explanation. EC2 instances have several different hard drive options. However, Elastic Block Store, EBS, which is a type of network-attached storage, is the most popular and widely used. Question 18. You have been tasked by your department head to upload a batch of files to an S3 bucket. However, when you select S3 on the AWS console, you see a notification stating that you do not have permission to access S3. What is the most probable cause of this error? Option A. It takes 24 hours to get access to S3. B. The S3 service is currently down for maintenance. C. You do not have an S3 access policy attached to your IAM user. D. Your boss has not enabled proper bucket permission. Right answer is C. You do not have an S3 access policy attached to your IAM user. Explanation. If you get an error stating that you do not have proper permissions to access use and AWS service, then most likely your IAM user does not have the proper permission policy attached. Question 19. What are the benefits of AWS Relational Database Service, RDS? Select all that apply. Choose the 3 correct answers. Option A. Resizable capacity. B. Automated patches and backups. C. Cost efficient. D. None of the above. Right answer is A. Resizable capacity. B. Automated patches and backups. C. Cost efficient. Question 20. What are the primary benefits of using Lambda? Select all that apply. Choose the 2 correct answers. Option A. Pay for only the compute time you consume. B. Wide variety of operating systems to select from. C. Actively select and manage instance type and capacity. D. Run code without provisioning server. Right answer is A. Pay for only the compute time you consume. D. Run code without provisioning server. Explanation. Lambda, being AWS serverless compute platform, means there are no servers, instance types, or capacity to select. That is all managed for you. With Lambda, you only for the when your code is actually being executed. Question 1. If you have a set of frequently accessed files that are used on a daily basis, what S3 storage class should you store them in? Option A. Infrequent access. B. Reduced redundancy. C. Standard. D. Fast access. Right answer is C. Standard. Explanation. The standard storage class should be used for files that you access on a daily or very frequent basis. Question 2. If you want in-depth details on how to create, manage, and attach IAM access policies to IAM users, in what AWS resource should you look? Option AWS How to Help section. B. AWS Service Documentation. C. AWS White Papers. D. None of the above. Right answer is B. AWS Service Documentation. Explanation. AWS Service Documentation is a collection of documents specific to each AWS service. They contain detailed how-tos as well as technical specifications. Question 3. You notice that 5 of your 10 S3 buckets are no longer available in your account, and you assume that they have been deleted. You are unsure who may have deleted them, and no one is taking responsibility. What should you do to investigate and find out who deleted the S3 buckets? Option A. Look at the S3 logs. B. Look at the CloudTrail logs. C. Look at the CloudWatch logs. D. Look at the SNS log. Right answer is B. Look at the CloudTrail logs. Explanation: CloudTrail is logging service that logs actions taken by AWS users in your AWS account, such as creating/deleting S3 buckets, starting/stopping EC2 stances, etc. Question 4. What should you do if you believe your AWS account has been compromised? Select all that apply. Choose the 4 correct answers. Option A. Delete any resources in your account that you did not create. B. Respond to any notifications you receive from AWS through the AWS Support Center. C. Change all IAM users' passwords. D. Delete or rotate all programmatic, API, access key. Right answer is A. Delete any resources in your account that you did not create. B. Respond to any notifications you received from AWS through the AWS Support Center. C. Change all IAM users' passwords. D. Delete or rotate all programmatic, API, access key. Explanation: all these answers are actions you should take if you believe your account has been compromised. Question 5. Under what circumstances would someone want to use Elasticache? Select all that apply. Choose the 2 correct answers. Option A. They need a NoSQL database option. B. They need to use edge locations to cache content. C. The need improve the performance of their web application. D. They need in-memory data store service. Right answer is C. The need improve the performance of their web application. D. They need in-memory data store service. Explanation: Elasticache is used as an in-memory data store or cache in the cloud. Benefits include improved performance for web applications that rely on information stored in a database. Edge locations are used for caching content with the CloudFront service, so that is not an answer here. Question 6. What are the benefits of AWS organizations? Select all that apply. Choose the 2 correct answers. Option A. Analyze cost across all multiple AWS accounts. B. Automate AWS account creation and management. C. Centrally manage access policies across multiple AWS accounts. D. None of the above. Right answer is B. Automate AWS account creation and management. C. Centrally manage access policies across multiple AWS accounts. Explanation: AWS organizations has 4 main benefits. 1. Centrally manage access policies across multiple AWS accounts. 2. Automate AWS account creation and management. 3. Control access to AWS services. 4. Enable consolidated billing across multiple AWS accounts. Analyzing cost is done through the Cost Explorer or TCO calculator, which is not part of AWS organizations. Question 7. David is managing a web application running on dozens of EC2 servers. He is worried that if something goes wrong with one of the servers, he will not know about it in a timely manner. What solution could you offer to help him keep updated on the status of his servers? Option A. Configure each EC2 instance with a custom script to email David when any issues occur. B. Configure RDS notifications based on CloudWatch EC2 metric alarms. C. Enable CloudTrail to log and report any issues that occur with the EC2 instances. D. Configure SNS notifications based on CloudWatch EC2 metric alarm. Right answer is D. Configure SNS notifications based on CloudWatch EC2 metric alarm. Explanation: CloudWatch is used to track metrics on all EC2 instances. Metric alarms can be configured to trigger SNS messages if something goes wrong. Question 8. What best describes Amazon Web Services, AWS? Option A. AWS only provides compute and storage services. B. AWS is the cloud. C. AWS is a cloud services provider. D. None of the above. Right answer is C. AWS is a cloud services provider. Explanation. AWS is defined as a cloud services provider. They provide hundreds of services of which compute and storage are included, not limited to. Question 9. What best describes the concept of high availability? Option A. The ability for a system to grow and shrink based on demand. B. The ability for a system to withstand a certain amount of failure and still remain functional. C. The ability for a system to grow in size, capacity, and / or scope. D. The ability for a system be accessible when you attempt to access I? Right answer is D. The ability for a system be accessible when you attempt to access I? Explanation. High availability refers to the concept that something will be accessible when you try to access it. An object or web application is highly available when it is accessible a vast majority of the time. Question 10. What best describes the concept of elasticity? Option A. The ability for a system to grow in size, capacity, and / or scope. B. The ability for a system to withstand a certain amount of failure and still remain functional. C. The ability for a system to grow and shrink based on demand. D. The ability for a system be accessible when you attempt to access I? Right answer is C. The ability for a system to grow and shrink based on demand. Explanation. Elasticity, think of a rubber band, defines a system that can easily and cost-effectively grow and shrink based on required demand. Question 11. Amit is running a web application with a capacity of 5,000 users. Every few days, traffic reaches 5,000 users and any additional users are being denied access. What can Amit do to efficiently automate the process of adding and removing server capacity based on traffic demand? Option A. Enable elastic load balancing on his application. B. Automating this process cannot be done. C. Enable auto-scaling on his application. D. Write a custom script to automate the process. Right answer is C. Enable auto-scaling on his application. Explanation. Auto-scaling in AWS allows you to configure metric-based rules that, when triggered, will add and / or remove instances, server capacity, to your application. Adding / moving instances is then automated based on the metric rules you configure. Question 12. What best describes the concept of a virtual private cloud? Option A. A private section of AWS in which you control what resources are placed inside. B. A collection of data centers. C. A shared section of AWS between you and other AWS account holders. D. A private section of AWS in which you control what resources are placed inside and who can access those resources. Right answer is D. A private section of AWS in which you control what resources are placed inside and who can access those resources. Explanation. A VPC is a private section of AWS in which you control what resources are placed inside and who can access those resources. A VPC defines your own private network that runs on AWS infrastructure. Question 13. An edge location is a specialized AWS data center that works in conjunction with what AWS service? Option A. Route 53, B. CloudWatch, C. Lambda, D. CloudFront. Right answer is D. CloudFront. Explanation. CloudFront is comprised of a network of edge locations, which is where content is cached. Question 14. What is the EC2 AMI marketplace? Option A. Where you select the storage type of an EC2 instance. B. A collection of pay-to-use EC2 AMI that generally come packaged with licensed enterprise software. C. Where you store AMI that you create. D. Where you select a compute capacity of an EC2 instance. Right answer is B. A collection of pay-to-use EC2 AMI that generally come packaged with licensed enterprise software. Question 15. Children's All Saints Hospital has millions of old medical records that they must save for regulatory reasons. These records will most likely never be accessed again. What is the best and most cost-effective S3 storage option that will meet the hospital's needs? Option A. Standard, B. Infrequent access, C. Glacier, D. Reduced redundancy. Right answer is C. Glacier. Explanation: Glacier is specifically designed for long-term archival storage. It is extremely inexpensive and should only be used for items that you access very infrequently. Question 16. Kunal is logged into his company's AWS account. He tries to access EC2 but is getting an error. What is the most likely reason why he cannot access EC2? Option A. There is not an IAM access policy attached to his IAM user. B. He is not part of an IAM group. C. He does not have multi-factor authentication, MFA, enabled. D. There is not an IAM access policy attached to his IAM role. Right answer is A. There is not an IAM access policy attached to his IAM user. Explanation: When an IAM user is created, that user has no access to any AWS services. To gain access to an AWS server, an IAM user must have permission granted to them. This is done by attached an IAM access policy to their IAM user or through an attached group. However, just being in a group does not grant access. A proper policy would need to be attached to that group. Question 17. What is the name of AWS RDS SQL database engine? Option A. Lightsail, B. SNS, C. MySQL, D. Aurora. Right answer is D. Aurora. Explanation: AWS created their own custom SQL database engine, which is called Aurora. Question 18. What is AWS Relational Database Service? Option A. Redshift, B. DynamoDB, C. Elasticache, D. RDS. Right answer is D. RDS. Explanation: RDS offers SQL database options, otherwise known as relational databases. Question 19. What is the major difference between AWS RDS and DynamoDB database services? Option A. RDS offers no SQL database options and DynamoDB offers SQL database options. B. RDS offers an SQL database option and DynamoDB offers many no SQL database options. C. RDS offers SQL database options and DynamoDB offers a no SQL database option. D. None of the above. Right answer is C. RDS offers SQL database options and DynamoDB offers a no SQL database option. Explanation: RDS is a SQL database service that offers several database engine options, and DynamoDB is a no SQL database option that only offers one no SQL engine. Question 20. If you want to monitor the average CPU usage of your EC2 instances, which AWS service should you use? Option A. Cloud Monitor, B. Cloud Trail, C. Cloud Watch, D. None of the above. Right answer is C. Cloud Watch. Explanation: Cloud Watch is used to collect, view, and track metrics for resources, such as EC2 instances, in your AWS account. Question 1. What best describes a simplified definition of the cloud? Option A. All the computers in your local home network. B. A computer located somewhere else that you are utilizing in some capacity. C. An on-premises data center that your company owns. D. Your internet service provider. Right answer is B. A computer located somewhere else that you are utilizing in some capacity. Explanation: For the simplest definition of the cloud is a computer that is located somewhere else that you are utilizing in some capacity. AWS is a cloud services provider, as they provide access to computers they own, located at AWS data centers that you use for various purposes. Question 2. What is the relationship between AWS global infrastructure and the concept of high availability? Option A. AWS is centrally located in one location and is subject to widespread outages if something happens at that one location. B. AWS regions and availability zones allow for redundant architecture to be placed in isolated parts of the world. C. None of the above. Right answer is B. AWS regions and availability zones allow for redundant architecture to be placed in isolated parts of the world. Explanation. As an AWS user, you can create your application's infrastructure and duplicate it. By placing duplicate infrastructure in multiple regions, high availability is created because if one region fails, you have a backup in another region to use. Question 3. Karen is building a website that is expected to have a minimum of 1,000 users continually over the course of 24 hours. For 8 hours each day, traffic is expected to be at about 1,800 users. What EC2 buying options should she use to handle all the traffic and be most cost-effective? Option A. Karen should rely solely on spot instances since that will be the cheapest option. B. Karen should buy reserved instances with enough capacity to cover the baseline of 1,000 users, then rely on on-demand instances for the 8-hour period of increased traffic each day. Right answer is B. Karen should buy reserved instances with enough capacity to cover the baseline of 1,000 users, then rely on on-demand instances for the 8-hour period of increased traffic each day. Explanation. Reserved instances should use to handle the expected baseline traffic to the website. Reserved instances in 1/3-year term can be purchased as a significant discount over on-demand instances. Any varying traffic above the baseline should be handled with on-demand instance, since they can be added/removed at any time based on current demand. Spot instances should not be used in this scenario. Question 4. What are the TWO main security layers, firewalls, used inside a VPC? Choose the 2 correct answers. Option A. Net Protect. B. Network Access Control List. C. Security Group. D. Security Lists. Right answer is B. Network Access Control List. C. Security Group. Explanation. Network Access Control Lists (NACL) act as a firewall on the subnet level, and security groups act as a firewall on the instance level. Question 5. Children's All Saints Hospital has millions of old medical records that they must save for regulatory reasons. These records will most likely never be accessed again. What is the best and most cost-effective S3 storage option that will meet the hospital's needs? Option A. Standard. B. Infrequent access. C. Glacier. D. Reduced redundancy. Right answer is C. Glacier. Explanation. Glacier is specifically designed for long-term archival storage. It is extremely inexpensive and should only be used for items that you access very infrequently. Question 6. What AWS database service is used for data warehousing of petabytes of data? Option A. RDS. B. Elasticache. C. Redshift. D. DynamoDB. Right answer is C. Redshift. Explanation. Redshift is a fully managed data warehouse that is perfect for storing petabytes worth of data. Question 7. What is the name of AWS RDS SQL database engine? Option A. Lightsail. B. SNS. C. MySQL. D. Aurora. Right answer is D. Aurora. Explanation. AWS created their own custom SQL database engine, which is called Aurora. Question 8. What is AWS Relational Database Service? Option A. Redshift. B. DynamoDB. C. Elasticache. D. RDS. Right answer is D. RDS. Explanation. RDS offers SQL database options, otherwise known as relational databases. Question 9. If you want to have SMS or email notifications sent to various members of your department with status updates on resources in your AWS account, what service should you choose? Option A. SDS, B. RDS, C. Get SMS, D. SNS. Answer: D. SNS. Explanation: Simple Notification Service, SNS, is what publishes messages to SMS and / or email endpoints. Question 10. Under what circumstances would you choose to use the AWS Service Cloud Trail? Option A. When you want to collect and view resource metrics. B. When you want to log what actions various IAM users are taking in your AWS account. C. When you want a serverless compute platform. D. When you want to send SMS notifications based on events that occur in your account. Right answer is B. When you want to log what actions various IAM users are taking in your AWS account. Explanation: CloudTrail is AWS logging service used to log actions taken by users in your AWS account. Question 11. Which AWS service uses a combination of publishers and subscribers? Option A. SNS, B. RDS, C. EC2, D. Lambda. Right answer is A. SNS. Explanation: In SNS, there are two types of clients: publishers and subscribers. Publishers send the message and subscribers receive the message. Question 12. What term best describes the AWS pricing model? Option A. Pay all upfront, B. Pay as you go, C. Pay all at end, D. None of the above. Right answer is B. Pay as you go. Explanation: AWS operates on a pay-as-you-go model. No upfront cost or termination fees. Question 13. What must you do before you do any penetration testing on your account? Option A. Penetration testing is now allowed. B. Contact AWS and let them know first. C. Nothing. You are free to do penetration testing whenever you like. D. None of the above. Right answer is B. Contact AWS and let them know first. Explanation: You must contact AWS before doing any penetration testing on your account. If you do not notify AWS first, they may shut down your account. Question 14. Which of the following are AWS support plans? Select all that apply. Choose the 3 correct answers. Option A. Enterprise, B. Expert, C. Basic, D. Business. Right answer is A. Enterprise, C. Basic, D. Business. Explanation: AWS has 4 support plan levels: Basic, Developer, Business, Enterprise. Question 15. What is a main benefit of consolidated billing? Option A. Faster response from AWS technical support. B. Gain a volume discount for usage across all your AWS accounts. C. Access to a higher support plan level. D. None of the above. Right answer is B. Gain a volume discount for usage across all your AWS accounts. Explanation: Consolidated billing allows you to view, manage, and pay bills for multiple AWS accounts in one user interface. Volume discounts can be earned by combining the usage from all accounts your own. Question 16. What best describes the difference between the TCO calculator and the cost explorer? Option A. The TCO calculator helps you analyze current AWS usage charges. The cost explorer helps you estimate the cost savings of using AWS. B. The TCO calculator helps you estimate the cost savings of using AWS. The cost explorer helps you analyze current AWS usage charges. C. The Cost Explorer is a price list for each AWS service. The TCO calculator helps you calculate hourly EC2 usage cost. Right answer is B. The TCO calculator helps you estimate the cost savings of using AWS. The Cost Explorer helps you analyze current AWS usage charges. Explanation. The TCO Calculator is a free tool provided by AWS that allows you to estimate the cost savings of using AWS VS using an on-premises data center. The Cost Explorer is a free tool that allows you to view charges of your cost, helps you analyze where you are spending money. Question 17. What categories fall under those analyzed by the AWS Trusted Advisor program? Select all that apply. Option A. Fault tolerance. B. Scalability. C. Cost optimization. D. None of the above. Right answer is A. Fault tolerance. C. Cost optimization. Explanation. The AWS Trusted Advisor program will analyze your account with check in the following categories: cost optimization, performance, security, fault tolerance. Question 18. Under what circumstances would you choose to use the AWS Service Cloud Trail? Options. A. When you want to collect and view resource metrics. B. When you want to log what actions various IAM users are taking in your AWS account. C. When you want a serverless compute platform. D. When you want to send SMS notification based on events that occur in your account. Right answer is B. When you want to log what actions various IAM users are taking in your AWS account. Explanation. CloudTrail is AWS logging service used to log actions taken by users in your AWS account. Question 19. Which AWS service uses a combination of publishers and subscribers? Options. A. SNS. B. RDS. C. EC2. D. Lambda. Right answer is A. SNS. Explanation. In SNS, there are two types of clients: publishers and subscribers. Publishers send the message and subscribers receive the message. Question 20. If you want to learn about AWS architectural or security best practices, where will you find that type of information? Options. A. AWS Yellow Pages. B. AWS Console Info section. C. AWS White Papers. D. AWS Service Documentation. Right answer is C. AWS White Papers. Explanation. White papers are a collection of technical documents that outlines many AWS relevant topics.